Good job, Oscar. Ah, there you go. Nice. Thank you. Ça marche pas. Tu peux passer. Nice. Okay. So let's talk about the controller interactions. So sound for this project was of course at the center of the experience. So we decided very early on which were the interactions that we could allow the player to have with the controller. So we decided very, very early on that we would use buttons for mutes on rhythmic and melodic parts, faders for high and low pass filtering, a crossfader to switch between two variations on a track. We call them A and B sections, and a rotary scratcher for the thing that everyone loves, the scratcher. That you can use anytime. You can use any of the buttons anytime during gameplay, and it won't penalize you for using them. Next up, on audio directions, here are the design pillars that we followed for the experience. The first one is total agency over the music with the controller, meaning that we needed to write music that works for the available interactions and that encourages discovery through exploration. Next up was to have a legible music structure to help the player anticipate their actions as much as possible, and the added benefit for that is that having a legible music structure also makes freestyle modes more accessible and fun. And lastly, the last pillar, it's a party, and you are the hero of that party. So the soundtrack should be dynamic, danceable, and ideally it should make you move a little bit. So a huge important factor about this pillar is that we implemented a dynamic audio crowd system, which is driven by multiple game parameters to make it as reactive as possible with the time and resources that we have. Let's hear it in action.
In addition to the audio, the crowd also had to visually be diverse and to react visually. So for that, we used a randomized mix and match system. So we made multiple parts for each NPC, multiple t-shirts, multiple hats, etc. And we just mix and match everything together to get a variety of human beings. And secondly, for their behaviors, we took inspiration from boids, which are computer birds, in the sense that the NPCs will pull each other off, and will be attracted to areas and points of the map.
So for the environment, we choose to add some stationary green and red lights to distinguish the fan and the hater, and split the space between them. So if you don't do the right input at the right time, the crowd go dance to a very loud cone, who is your opponent. And also we choose to give an underground mood to fit with the booth.
Now we can talk about the booth because the part of the experience, we wanted to be the extension of the virtual experience to reality, so you can see the LED panel we had to show you the path, and you have a photo of Tom playing on the controller. And secondly, we wanted to be the experience collective, so we asked the other students to put stickers on our controller, sorry. So it was a collective personalization of the experience.
So now let's see how to build a controller. So most of the electronic components were bought, then wired to the computer using an Arduino. For the non-electronic parts, they were designed using a FreeCAD, which is a free and open source industrial design software. It's not very ergonomic, but it's free. We also used a piece of scraps For example, the scratcher is a broken mouse and a fidget spinner. And then the parts designed on FreeCAD were brought to the real world using the school's 3D printer and Eureka Tech, a laser cutter. So Eureka Tech is a Fab Lab accessible to students. It's close to here.
So finally, we can talk about the problematics we have to pass. So the first one was about how to produce a game with a controller, because it's two separate things and you have to produce both, even if you are a small team. I think we succeed well, actually. And the second one was how to manage a project as a part-time team, because we are a small team, but also some of us are working on 2 projects. So it was an even bigger challenge, but it was better because we could do many things. For example, the programmer, Jeremy, and I, we built the controller, even if we had other responsibilities. Finally, you can see the roadmap here. So we started in mid-March the pre-production. You can see we had firstly a MIDI controller, so it was just to test if the games works, if the concept works. Then in the end of April, we had the crowd request and one first level and a physical controller. It was made of papercraft and the reactive crowd. And during production, so in mid-May, we had a better papercraft controller and an ergonomic one, and an additional level and the UI and menu. And finally, we have the good and beautiful wood controller now, the tutorial, and the best and a better environment and the diversified crowd. And thank you for listening to us.
I just want to add something that we forgot. A huge thank you to the people who came for the recording of the crowd. Thank you to the students. Thank you.
Thank you. So who wants to give us feedbacks of being a DJ? DJ, sorry. Oh, come on. Thank you, Cécile.
Hi, so I'm Cécile from Focus. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, because I lived my dream. Like it was a secret one. Now I say it in the open. Yes, I wanted to be a DJ, but I'm really too lousy with anything. And so the game is very, very permissive, which is nice because I didn't want my flow to be interrupted by burp. So yeah, it's really great. My question would be, if you were to push this like a level further, what would you add? What would you do? Like, how could you turn this like 10-15 minutes experience into something more full-fledged?
Okay, now you can hear me, at least. I'd say the main thing would be to add more levels, because it's the most fun part. Add more music, add more ways to interact with it. That's kind of always been the goal. And you know, we didn't have a menu music at the start, and now we have it, and it's one of the most fun things in the game. So we're pretty happy with the way it's going, and we'd like to push it further. And then, I don't know, maybe add some kind of a story to it. There's story elements that could be added, and if you played it, the tutorial has some text at some point, so that's something that could be brought a little bit, you know, further down the line. And Matteo?
Yeah, so in the interactions, we wanted also to keep things simple, because it's a 10-minute experience and you want to have fun with it. But hope that I would have loved to add a lot more effects and things, but that would require more buttons, more sliders, more everything. For an experience that's longer, that gives more time to the player to get to know it and have fun with it, it would have been great. But we kept it simple for the sake of, you know, the whole experience.
Melisandre again. So I said earlier that I was a former employee of Capcom, but I also was a former employee of Activision. And so I worked on Guitar Hero and Guitar Hero. But they did also DJ Hero. And so I wanted to know, I haven't played a lot of DJ Hero and I haven't worked much on this one. And so I wanted to know if you actually use DJ Hero as an example for your project, and what intakes you took, and what are the differences?
So yeah, DJ Hero was something we had to analyze at the beginning. So the main differences, I'd say, is that DJ Hero, it plays a bit like Guitar Hero in the sense that the notes come and you have to make them, and you can't improvise. So yeah, the main difference gameplay-wise is total agency. Also, we looked at the DJ Hero's controller to try to see how they did it. We couldn't really retro-engineer the scratcher, but yeah, it would have been cool.
I think one thing I'd add is, in general, for rhythm games, it's pretty easy to have moments where you're playing the game and you mess up once or twice, and you feel like you lost it. You lost the level, and you can't really catch up back to it. I know Osu does that a lot, where I lost my rhythm. With Ready Set Jam, we kind of wanted to make a rhythm game that's also accessible for people who aren't really rhythmic or that sort of stuff. So the game is, as you said, Cecile, pretty permissive. You can do the inputs really early and really late, and it still sounds good, it still works. And if you feel like you're losing kind of control, there's always going to be, we implemented a system where there's always going to be requests that help you kind of catch back on to where you were. There are moments where you can breathe, that sort of stuff that you don't necessarily have in games like DJ Hero that are less casual.
Thank you, and I really liked the whole thing, actually, and also the fact that you have some characters that are inclusive. The mix and match is very much what we do when we create in the NFTs, for instance, in the GameFi industry. But that's what you actually use, so yeah, that's good.
Hello. Well, as I told you yesterday, I love alternative controllers. So in that sense, great, well done, and it's responsive, sweet, and it worked properly. At the same time, I have DJ friends over 40 that will be happy to play it, so don't be afraid in that sense to widen your audience. But the only thing is you done nicely with the setting, with the feedback, and even with the rhythm and the demands you do to the DJ, increasing in size and whatever. Everything is nicely done in that sense, because it maintains the rhythm at the same time, focus the tension and everything else. The only thing I will say is when you go into freestyle, then you have just the bar, nothing else. So in that sense, is going down just a little of the experience. Maybe over there you have also to do something more visual to engage the player. All the rest was magnificent, and I enjoyed even going into the garage and all the setting you have done. So congrats.
Thank you. Last feedback or question? No? No? So let's congrats once again, RSG. And let's welcome, the next team, which is, Roller Punk.
Ah, Frédéric.
C'est pour ça.
Welcome to the Drill Ball Stadium, now introducing Roller Punk. Now, Roller Punk is a mix of racing and fighting for the control of, well, you guessed it, the drill ball. Firstly inspired by the motorball in Ganmu, Roller Punk is an original competitive couch game, and it had 3 pulsating hearts during its making. Firstly, speed, secondly, brutality, and most importantly, game feel.
So the game has 3 major gameplay elements that are essential to its identity. Those are racing, combat, and ball possession. We had to figure out exactly which one was central while keeping the other 2 relevant, because they still are part of the USP. So we established the possession of the ball as our focus point, which aligned better with the nature of the game as a sport. With that in mind, it became easy to articulate racing and combat around this main point of interest, in a way that they would be at its service instead of detracting from it. That is how racing became a tool to contextualize scoring with, making you stack up points in the ball as you run with it. And combat became a tool to keep or take possession of the ball, to always keep stakes high and allow for unpredictable come-ups.
About the visual identity of Roller Punk, starting from Ganmu, we also mainly took inspiration from Mad Max and also other cyberpunk-ish universes. We firstly intended to make several different fighters, each with their own character and shapes, but for now we made the choice to make only one character. In the end, our fighter is shiny and chrome, has bulging muscles, leather jackets, and most importantly, a lot of spikes. The idea behind this choice was to allow us to focus on the movement of the fighter. We put a lot of effort on the cyborg's animations and visual effects to give it character. We ended up with more than 30 animations total, all to fuel that sweet game feel.
And talking about game feel, for the sound, we aim to recreate an exaggerated sound design and the atmosphere of a sports arena. So to achieve this, we drew inspiration from the soundscape of boxing rings, gladiator battles, with sharp sound effects, crowd reacting to actions, and combining organic and mechanical elements according to the nature of the playable character. You can also taunt your opponents with laughter when you outsmart them. I'm sorry. Let's hear some design. Is it good? Regarding the music, we chose a mix between punk, metal, and electro-rock style. And in motor punk, when a player carries the ball, their own music segment is played, adding variation to the soundtrack. For the music, we worked with the composer around our core pillars and this specific feature. The main technical constraint encountered for the sound was managing the mix in a split-screen configuration. To address this, we spatialized the audio listeners for players 1 and 3 to the left and player 2 and 4 to the right. We also paid close attention to the mix during playtest sessions.
So as a programmer, my job was to make tools and create controllers for my team to work on, to iterate on. So first, since it's a mix of racing and fighting, I had to make a controller where moving felt smooth. So first, for the player controller, we made 3 different versions, each one with their own advantage and downside. We took what we felt was the most suited for our use and was also maintainable on the long term. So not something too complicated, even if I wanted to, but it was too not suited for the purpose. So once we agree on a controller, I exposed all the variables so it could be tweaked whenever we wanted and whenever we felt something was wrong, in order to easily iterate on it and adapt as we went during the development. Next, following the same philosophy as the controller for the combat, we have variables for everything. It means that the code is driving the timing of everything for the different timing of animations. So it means if we felt that the winding up animation was too slow or too fast, we could really it was really fast to change it and to test it, to iterate again and again to get where we wanted to. And lastly, since it's a racing game, we have to build a track, and so my work mainly focused on providing tools so the team could create tracks without too many constraints. So the idea was to use the Unity spline system and build on it a system to bend a mesh to create the circuit, the track, and also another tool to place objects at regular intervals on the spline to populate it in order for the team to place whatever they wanted on it.
Now, Rollerpunk being a mix between a fighting and a racing game, that meant we had to do a lot of user research in order to understand what made both of those genres of game really fun to play. Between that, we also quickly understood that we needed to transmit a lot of information to our players at the same time, and we also needed to take into account or ping a punk aspect. So we created a flashy user interface that would transmit everything all at once in a quirky way. Apart from that, we had to take into consideration that we would have a lot of different player skills coming today and tomorrow. So we created individual tutorials directly integrated to character selections. Apart from all that, we obviously also designed for remapping and auto-acceleration features to take into account physically impaired players.
We would like to thank the composer of the game, Marc Papi, who is an electro rock artist, and all the people who recorded crowds in the school. Thank you. And
before ending everything up, we would also like to announce that a tournament cup will be held tomorrow with a gold trophy to claim. So we thank you for your time, and we wish you a very nice drill.
Thank you. So who wants to share what they felt? Yeah.
Merci. Hello guys, so first congratulations for the game. I tested a bit yesterday, and actually regarding your presentation I have some question about the accessibility stuff. Did you thought about something? Accessibility.
Yes, so we tried to integrate remapping as our first accessibility feature, because implementing more accessibility like auto-driving and such would require more time and development effort that we had to account for. But we did try to account for player accessibility in mind all along the product.
But nothing for color blindness?
We did select our colors to be colorblind compliant.
Okay.
We hope we did a good enough job at it.
That's. But actually, it's really hard. Just advice to find the right colors to be let's say compliant with color blindness people. It's always super tricky. We tried for Mario Rabbids, and I know that it's not. So this is also about experience. So that was my point. But otherwise, it was feeling pretty fun yesterday. So yeah, congrats.
Thank you.
On the long term, we would like to have several different characters with very different shapes. So it would kind of account for this problem. But for now, we made the choice, as I said, to polish what we had yet.
And I do understand. I was talking more about the UI elements.
Oh, okay.
Because green and reddish pink, I think it's the same for colorblind people.
I guess with different characters, they would have different icons with them. So
and it would be fine.
This is a very fair point.
Thanks.
Thank you. I just go up.
Mélisandre again. I haven't tested your game, so I won't be able to comment a lot on that. But because I am also a jury for the whole presentation, I'd like to just emphasize the fact that you have put every time on your screen, whenever someone was speaking, we knew the name, the job, the function, and also the contact. So I thought that was really good, and so bravo for that. And I forgot to mention something on the previous project, but because they did put the age rating and things like that, which are a little bit more of marketing stuff. But this is also sort of marketing for me. It's like the branding, and so just at least for that, I wanted to say bravo. And the project is good. And I have the question though. There is on your logo and also during the gameplay, we can see blood, if I'm not mistaken. There are only robots, or there are like human and robots, and why blood? And because you know that can affect the age rating, and of course the marketing of the game is should you want it to release it.
They are cyborgs, so they initially were humans. Well, we can imagine that, but well, for those who don't know, a cyborg is like a mix of a human and a robot. So they have mechanical parts, but they keep human core or heart. So this choice was made. So we have the better of both worlds. So we have robots that bleed because that's fun.
But that can affect your age rating.
Just one sentence that came into my mind. It was Jean-Luc Godard, an old movie maker. He said, "It's not blood, it's red." You can use that.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Anyway, well, in this sense, you know, if it is green or it is oil, it's not blood. So in that sense, you can tweak over there, going into more oil or petrol or whatever, not blood, and you will solve it. And on the other hand, as our partner said from Ubisoft before about accessibility and the track and the difficulty in the track, okay, you have Mario Kart playing fathers with son, and you can magnetize the child character in the sense that I fall many times out of the track, okay, intentionally and not intentionally, and in that sense, just to magnetize in a voluntary way one of the characters not to get away of the track could be that point to accessibility and allow fathers with sons playing with them not being in that sense so anxious and have that trouble. And well, about the scoring, I think my partner is going to comment it anyway, but you don't know how you can do more points if you go into something we talk about that. But I think my partner is going to say that in more deeply. So thanks and congrats. It was fun, it was hard, it was punk.
Thank you very much.
And I want to add that mother and daughter can play too.
Again, in accessibility, you have to take into account many things. Every single time you think about having to differentiate something, always that okay, I want players to be able to know that what they are doing and that this is this and not that. Remember what's the key: shape and color, not one or the other. Two, help yourself, and also help the players as much as you can. Also, the blood is another element of accessibility. There are people that can't stand blood, that can't stand some actions and figures. So remember that it's good to go for your artistic vision, but always remember that you need to eat at the end of the month and at the end of the week. And that at the same time, a lot of people want to enjoy your art, your experience. And as artists, as creators, we need to try to help them to enjoy our experience, not betraying, of course, our beliefs. So it's important to do that. And also it's really important to teach the players how to do things, and that's something that we already talked about. And I was a little bit disappointed to not see, even in your trailer, how to score a goal. You put several parts. You even put the jumping from one part to another, which is, I don't know if it's an intended mechanic or not, but it was a really interesting thing to find out. But there are so many things that you need to teach the player in this case that I highly encourage you to take more care always of. Players are great, they are amazing, but they need sometimes to be taken with the hand to learn certain things. And I have a question, a really important question, that I don't know if you know or the composer. Did you use inspiration from the Jak X soundtrack?
Asian is mainly samurai. We can hear it in Cyberpunk 2007.
Okay, just if you can listen to the soundtrack. It's Jak and Daxter X, the car racing version of it, because at least the music that you use in the trailer has a lot of beats like it. So again, congratulations, it's a great experience, and I want to play again. I want the rematch. I want to with him.
Again, Guillaume from Virtuos. I think all the team of Virtuos enjoyed the game. We really loved hitting each other to get this ball. It is great, but I think you can enhance it in two ways, in my opinion. First one, maybe making the control more smooth, because it's hard to turn really the way we want the first time. And the second one, when we talked about the game, you told me that you loved the fact that the player jumped from one part of the race to another. Maybe lead your level design to this way, to really create ramps and stuff like that, to lead the player to jump from a part to another, because yes, it is fun. I've done it not really intentionally, but yes, it's some parts that could even make your game pop in the ecosystem.
Hi, Catherine again. Yeah, fun game. Yeah, I guess following on from what other people have started to say about difficulty. Yeah, I guess my question, or the thing that would be important for me would be sort of really knowing which audience you're going for in terms of difficulty. You know, people mentioning, parents playing with kids and that sort of thing. Because yeah, I found it on the, maybe I'm just a bit shit, but I found it on the difficult side. It's harder than Mario Kart, obviously, and the visuals indicate that this is probably going to be the case, right? Which is fair enough. But as you make the handling a bit more unforgiving, that's going to distract some players away from the combat. So because you got the hierarchy of attention there, you got like, well, I got to stay on the track, right? Because I don't want to respawn. And I guess, I mean, I would be tempted to think, to be a little bit more forgiving and kind of match your level design in those turns. Whether it's the shape of the turn or the handling. I mean, like to get really set. Like I felt like it would be. I felt like I couldn't really execute a very satisfying drift turn. That the turns didn't necessarily match the handling in that way. Yeah, I don't know what process you use, but you often like you kind of match the level, the track turns to the handling, and it sort of goes like that. And so. Yeah, I guess it's a question kind of like, what's your audience in terms of difficulty? Who are you aiming for?
So yeah, it's definitely a game that demands practice, and that's something that's part of our target. We do have some work on how to teach you to get there, though. So even if you do have to put some time to understand the controls, the mechanics, and how exactly you can play, some things can still be done, obviously, to help you understand, maybe with an introduction track to get you to know the controls that's a bit more forgiving. So that's the kind of thing that the context of production didn't really allow us to do. And there are probably some tweaking left to do in the controller also. So that's the kind of things we'd like to extend upon. But yeah, in terms of target, we do want the game to be challenging and to take a bit of your time to really get the hang of it.
So thank you. And I invite you to thank again and congratulate again the team. And let's welcome the next team, Puppy Guard.
Yeah, we are prepared. Got it. Yeah. Elizabeth. So, we are Puppy Guard's team, and we are about to talk about Puppy Guard. It doesn't work. No. Still not. Yeah.
Well, thank you for the congrats. Oh, well, let's watch it again. All right. So, Puppy Guard is a cooperative card game in which players take on the role of museum watchmen in charge of protecting the art pieces of the museum from, at best, clumsy, at worst, malicious visitors. You can build barricades with furniture, you can bark at the visitors, or you can even knock them down. Well, everything is worth it to protect the art. So our main intention was to make a co-op crowd management couch game, and we wanted to promote the collective experience instead of the individual skills, the interactions of the environment, and finally the crowd management in itself in a museum. All right, sorry. So the crowd management system is built around tower defense mechanics. So each round starts with a preparation phase of a few seconds, and so you can build a strategy with the furniture. And then there is the action phase, way longer, where the crowd comes in, and the players shall use multiple tools that will have different impacts on the crowd, and they will have to adapt to tense situation.
It's my turn. So we focused on an artistic direction based on color gradients to ensure in-game readability, while also creating a very colorful universe to emphasize the fun aspect of the game. It was interesting to work with the contrast between the seriousness of the museum and the quirky nature of our universe. Our challenge was how to ensure that our game is both appealing and readable in the context of local cooperation in a shared screen. We created several character concepts with the intention that players could distinguish them by different colors as well as different sizes. We wanted each dog to have its own name and personality to foster a sense of attachment during character selection. As for the other animals, they need to be aligned with a collective imagination to make their behavior easier to understand. For example, the sheep run away when a dog barks at them. Each character has its own animation, and we try to ensure they match their personality.
For the audio, we aim to match our family targets, and we wanted to support the contrast between the serious of the museum and the fun of our gameplay. For music, we wanted it happy, fast, and jazzy. We had the same approach for the sound design, so we decided to use our mouth as our principal sound source materials. On top of that, we wanted to enhance the personality of our characters. So this is a strong voice of Aramis, the full of trickery voice of Flint, the old and tired Marcel's voice, and the lack of courage of the poor Basil.
Our objective was to give, when it's about level design, it was to give each level a sort of role in the evolution of difficulty, and it was to make most naturally crescent difficulty. So the first level, for example, is about is still part of the onboarding, and it's the opportunity to discover the first AI and crowd management in general. The second level is the occasion to discover the second AI and to be more in connection with the cooperation importance because of the moving walls. And finally, the third level is the opportunity to discover the last AI through an event, and it's, well, I would say, the grand finale of the cooperation and of the mise en scène.
For a beta experience, we have created two different environments. The first is a classic museum with paintings, statues, and columns. The second is a prehistoric museum with a dinosaur skeleton in the center of the room. We choose to create two environments to be able to evolve the gameplay through the addition of a new asset, like the dinosaur. This also allowed us to improve the gaming experience with a changing scenery. To optimize our production time and assist our game designer, we create a modular asset like worlds. We choose a low poly style with a flat color textures. This allowed us to be very efficient in the asset creation process. You can see other assets. And here you can see on the left the evolution of our level art all over the project. We adjusted it based on our level design. And with our modular asset, we were able to iterate quickly to achieve the cleanest look possible. We played with the reverb to convey the size of the rooms.
We kept a feature list in order to make sure that everybody in the team was aware of the development's progress. We also made sure to detail each task as well as update the list regularly so that everyone could see who was working on what, and if a task priority needed to be increased, it could be done so. Since multiple people, which are me and the sound designer, were touching the code as well as the game artist for the animations, we wanted to establish a convention that everyone could refer to in order to write maintainable code in an healthy way so that we could keep working on the game in the future. Also, because we are making a couch game, it means we have to iterate a lot for the experience to be fine-tuned to the player's needs. To do so, we produced multiple tools. We produced documentation as well as explained to each other the engine key features so that everyone could progress a lot easier and we could iterate easier as well as integrate the assets easier.
To help the player to get the maximum of information, we wanted to put a VFX and SFX on all the interactions. Interactions between player and furnitures, between AI and players, but also between players and players. For the same reason, we designed the music as interactive, since several people in the room mean more layer in the instrument, in the music, and less statue means a faster music. It's easier to understand with that.
We did not have a UX designer in our team, so we did our best to benchmark as well as go through playtest to try and add accessibility features to PuppyGuard. First, we added visual, audio, as well as, in some cases, haptic feedback, so that the players could notice if any action or event occurred. We also added extra diegetic elements, such as gameplay element outlines and indicator of interaction, so that every player could know what they could interact with, as well as how they could interact with it.
Lastly, to enforce the accessibility, we choose simple font because even if you don't have a lot of information on the screen, you should see them simply and understand them. Also, we have a top-down fixed camera, so you can see all the scene. And we also have controls and goals reminder between each level. Even if it's simple goals, sometimes people forget them and they forget that they can dash or bark. And finally, we have a purple HUD coloring. So every time you see it, you know that it's extra diegetic information to help you during the game. Finally, for project management, so we had a 3 months production time. We chose to work in waterfall methodology. So in mid-March, we started the pre-production with the game concept. Then in the end of April, we had the multiplayer system and we started the conception. For the beginning of May, we had the first level with the classical museum and also the school bus event and some car design. Then we had the second milestone. It was more about the tutorial, the UI and menus, and more car designs. And finally, in the beginning of June, we had the last level with the dinosaur and the last playable character. And thank you for listening to us.
Thank you.
Hello, it's Constance again from Ubisoft. I want to really congrats you because I think you really worked hard on that, but you also worked smart, and we can see that in the presentation. It's really appreciated to see the roadmap, the kind of objectives you had, how you worked with some asset lists for the animations, etc. And I think this paid off. Having so many characters with dedicated animations, voices, etc. It's really a great job. It really helps for the accessibility, you know, just seeing your character and really identifying it, and also identifying to it. I really enjoyed all the different characters, etc. They are really lovable. So this is really, really a good job, and I think this is an amazing project. Really, bravo.
Thanks a lot.
Some other feedbacks? Questions? Yeah.
Hi, Frank from Ubisoft. I'm a user researcher. I was surprised to see that you didn't have user researchers on your project, since I thought it was really great as a player experience. I think it was really intuitive to know what we could do and to interact with all the elements. It was really nice. I wondered if you wanted to tell us a bit more about how you organized the playtest without a user researcher.
So we made some few playtests for each level, so we could text different mechanisms. So, for example, we started with the procedure defining our problematic. At the beginning, it was more about the sign and feedbacks because we didn't have enough of them. And then when we had the leads, we could test with the other students, but also we had the opportunity to participate in other external events like Malaga and Cannes and Cannes Festival. So we could play test with people of different age, different background, and it was really instructive actually.
If I can add something, we had the opportunities to work with Mina Auclair, which is a UX designer for Dontnod. So yeah, she helped us a lot, and we understood as a team that sign and feedback will be really important for this kind of game. So since the start of the project, we try to emphasize on this aspect. Thanks a lot.
Hello again, Guillaume, Virtuos. First thing, great job. This game is really cool. Second one, a thing you can add to ease the accessibility. If I remember well, every UI under the players are circles for everyone. You can add different shapes to help everyone recognize his puppies in a better way. And the second question, if you had the opportunity to continue the game, do you already have some idea to improve it, to add some gameplay features?
We indeed want to continue working on the game. We've had multiple ideas. We were thinking about first improving the UI. We also thought about adding more museum types, like an aquarium, for example, with maybe more gameplay elements, such as maybe shark tanks that people could fall in. And if too many of your visitors fall in, well, you lose points. We also had the idea to maybe have each character, each dog have like a special ability. We thought about a lot of things, but I will let the game designer talk about it a bit more.
Well, I feel like about the level design, of course, because of the 3 months, we don't have the opportunity to exploit more all the options that we could do in such a game. But I would love to develop more levels for the game and to go more in a sort of puzzle way. For example, I really like to make the level 2, the one with the moving walls, and it felt like a good piece of gameplay to have this element of management. So I would love to develop more in this way, and of course the new environments allow new types of mechanics, like she said, about like an astronomy gallery, for example, to play with the gravity. So yes, we have a lot of ideas, and I think the museum and the variety of environments in museums are a good opportunity to find well, diverse things to make in this game.
Thank you.
There's a question up, so I'm just going.
Hello, Javier from Voxel again. I enjoyed it a lot. I told you, in that sense, it was sweet and nice, and I enjoyed every single thing. In that sense, you have done a magnificent job without a UX UI guy, because the affordancy is achieved in the sense that all the commands, if you need 1 people or 2 people to pull from something or whatever, so the main thing is absolutely achieved, and you have done nicely. The only thing I told you is about the levels of interaction in the menus. That's the only thing you have to shorten, because sometimes you have to redo actions when you already go into a screen. It's the only thing, but all the rest is quite nice. I have some issues with if you include balls and your guys are dogs, okay, like kids with lasers, I don't know. Maybe just the guys can be distracted because the ball is running away. And at the same time, you have elder people, you have SIVs, and you have kids. But the kids, well, apart from the the mystery of hitting the elder people and the child all the time, I don't know, maybe you can even go in sweeter if you develop those characters which are nicely designed with special issues in the sense that, okay, if I have one of the guys, a fatty one, maybe I can bounce and not hit, and not punch, but just bounce. Something more comical, but not aggressive in that sense. So it could be sweeter in that sense. At the same time, as I told you, if they are kids and they are the balls, just put a number in one of them, and you know that little guy is going to rush into the ball and do something. So I want you to engage more the different elements you have done, which are nicely done, but you have more to take from them. So go ahead, because you have done nicely, you have done a great job, even without a US UI, you have done great, but you have many things to explore with the items you have developed yet. Okay, so nice, well done, congrats.
Thanks a lot for your feedbacks.
Thank you. So I think we can congratulate you again. Congratulations. And I invite you to take a break. So we will have just maybe 10 minutes, if you can, so we can be ahead of time. And then get opportunity to either catch a train or play the games. So see you. Please come back at 3:15 in the room, please.
Pas grave, t'inquiète, c'est pas grave. Il a dit Mina au clair alors que c'est Mina clair. Il a mélangé Jérémy.
Juste installer. Bah, allez-y, comme ça nous on la met. Le programme. T'inquiète.
Je le laisse là, c'est bon?
Mathéo, le micro.
Welcome back. 3 more projects, great ones. So please welcome the first one of the third last. Are you here? Yeah, I want to let the people coming. Please come quickly. Yeah. So please, welcome with me dans les pas de Mia.
Okay, so Dans les pas de Mia is a puzzle, narrative and exploration game you can play on tablet and a book. For parent-child pairs, for the child it's around 6 to 8 years old. You play as Mia, a little girl who goes home to her dad's house in the countryside every weekend. But this weekend, when she arrives home, she realizes that the invitation for her birthday have been forgotten. So she decided to go on an adventure. She has the whole day to invite her friends and organize her birthday party. Welcome to Dans les pas de Mia. Our game is a digital project, which means that it links a book and a tablet that aims to create a support for oral communication between a parent and a child while targeting childhood themes and psychosocial skills.
Our experience is based on 4 game pillars: narration, exploration, the book, which is a physical part of his digital project, and last but not least, the puzzle mechanics. For the narration, our intentions were to not discredit the understanding or sensitivity of children. We wanted to address various topics to ensure that certain characters or situations could serve as a way to help children identify their own emotion and could relate to them. That's why the game is divided into 3 chapters, each associated with a character and a psychosocial theme. Shyness and the difficulty to communicate with others without was a ghost. The learning of letting go and the fact you can't control everything with Alex the fisher person, and finally, jealousy and accepting others with Basil the badger. Our second game pillar is the notion of exploration and how to translate nostalgia through this village. The map is composed into 3 zones, hard-gated by the progress of the chapters and narration. Exploration is meant to be lively, with interaction with secondary characters to add life to the village and more context about its population and their relationships between each other. Here are all the characters you can meet in the game. It also includes the completion of an herbarium, which you can find in the book, which helps us to first integrate the uses of level design to children, how to identify visual cues and you reward them in the process, but also to give even more flavor to our core experience with satisfaction to complete it in the book.
So our third game pillar is the book, and you will actually get the chance to see the 2 books that we managed to create during the project in a few moments. So Dans les pas de Mia being a digital experience, we really wanted to create a design object that could be manipulated, and not only an addition to the game, but an integral part of it. The book represents the physical part of the experience and creates a link between the pair. And lastly, our 4th game pillar is our puzzles. So the puzzles link the book and the game, and they encourage players to juggle between the 2 medias and provide a basis for the communication between them. The principle is that you always have to take information in the book in order to solve the puzzle on the tablet. To design the puzzles, we took inspiration from interactive books with the principles of pop-ups, movable components, and other paper minigames. So 3 of Mia's friends in the game have their own problem and trigger a puzzle, so Salwa, Alix and Basile, and each puzzle employs a different interaction principle. For example, you have a magnifying glass in the book that you can place on the screen in order to decipher Salwa's dialogues. You also can slide buttons to use an old radio, and you have hidden object games in which you can find the clues directly in the book.
To bring the game to life, we wanted a spring-like, cute and warm artistic direction. For the environment, we inspired from French villages, such as the countryside's atmosphere. Our goal was to bring out a certain nostalgia for our childhood village and our grandparents' home. We also took a lot of references from games that had an organic isometric view. In the game, it materializes by a verdant and sweet environment in an isometric view, which cannot wait to be explored.
For the characters, we wanted to show a large variety by bringing objects to life and personifying animals in a way to remind the children's bonding imaginary. So here are all the characters that we meet in the game. We try to vary the shapes, the colors, the proportions, but also to give all of them a unique nature and a great expressiveness to make them more appealing. The idle animations and expression portraits, strongly inspired by children's book illustrations, allows us to manage that.
Let's say a few words about the art direction, come on, for sound. Wow. So the 12 tracks that make up the game soundtrack had intentions to be calm and cozy, to bring a warm and wholesome vibe to the game with a touch of nostalgia, and that it would also convey the passing of time throughout the day. Since the adventure takes place on one day, it was necessary to give each zone and puzzle its own unique character.
For the ambiances, we went for sober elements which gave context to the Mia's world. And we tried to focus on the main elements of each scene. For example, this is the mill area. And finally, for the characters' gibberish, we wanted to transcribe their unique personalities. So this is the young and shy Salwa, and the autonomous and young adult Alex.
In order to create a relevant user experience, we carried out extensive research and gradually refined our target audience. On the macro level, we carried out a questionnaire aimed at parents of children aged between 5 and 10 to better understand their children's reading practices, play habits, and parent-child reading habits. One of the results was a strong interest in the exchange during reading time. At micro level, we made our playtest in elementary school with the help of the city of Angoulême. These were based on the game's first chapter, so that we could quickly build on the project's foundations. We also paid particular attention to the construction of dialogues, both on the structure of the box, but also formatting the text by playing with the font weight and highlighting certain terms. This was the dialogue box as we conceived it, but it is not yet implemented in the game.
The challenge we had during the development is that a majority of members of the team were also working on other projects, which means we didn't have much time to work together on it. To meet the challenge, we decided to spend a significant amount of time on making tools and providing formations on Git, GitHub, Unity, and asset integration in general. However, it meant having a playable prototype pretty late into the development. So, all the prototyping was made using external tools like Figma and papers for the minigames.
And that's it. This is our team.
Special thanks to the sound designers who were not initially part of the team. They created all the sound and music in this game. So please applaud Matteo, Hugo, and Romain. We thank you for your attention and feel free to ask questions.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, and please congrats the whole team. So thank you. So who wants to start with feedbacks on Mia's Dans les pas de Mia? Yes.
Hello, Guillaume, developer, Virtuos. So first of all, looking at the book you've created in multiple exemplars, it's impressive. The book looks really nice. Sadly, Dans les pas de Mia is the only game I did not have the chance to test. So just to be sure to understand well, there is a dynamic between the book and the game, like Enigma with hints and answers in both of them, or just the books to the game?
Yeah, it's the dynamic between the book and the game. So the idea is that the parents or the child, one is on the game and one is on the book, and they have to communicate to exchange information because you have to combine both to solve the puzzles. And also you have extra pages in the book, like a herbarium. You have a recipe for a delicious cake at the end. So there's extra content.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Thank you. Some more? Oh, yes.
Yeah, but regarding what was said, I think that it's quite an interesting thing. In fact, right now in one investigation project about therapy with music and video games related, this kind of project that you have created, it goes really well. That is the kind of methodology you have used. So congratulations for mixing these amazing components. But there is a question that I have because I want to show to my colleagues what you have done. But the problem that I see is how are you going to deal whenever you upload this to itch.io or other platforms, the PDF? Are you going to upload a PDF, I suppose, but inside the game, in the page, and what will happen with the magnifying glass? The magnifying glass. Are you going to change those puzzles to make it to make them possible in that way? Have you thought about it?
Well, about putting the game on itch.io without the book, we thought about it. Of course, a PDF format for the book will lose a lot of the product, and it will be a great loss, I think. So we don't have a definitive solution about it. We can and we could create a PDF, and we want to do it, but to let a maximum amount of person to experience the game, I think it will be maybe better for the Dans les pas de Mia to be maybe in schools and libraries, in which we could have the book as a design product to be played with.
I was about to say the exact thing, like, don't put it on itch.io, sell it to schools. It will work.
Actually, when we did our playtest, we did them with children, and they asked us to come back with the definitive version. That's something we plan to do.
You should come into relation with some, I know there are in the national education, some people that are really working on resources for classes, etc. My mother is working on one of that, and she's working with some robot stuff, etc. for the children. It's definitely something you could like reach out and ask them if they're interested, and check with them if you can be like sent to some schools of the cities. This is definitely something that I think could be great. So,
thank you.
I just wanted to say that maybe you could approach, just with your example, to some editors like École des Loisirs or Gallimard, because maybe they will say no, but maybe they will be mesmerized. I think it worth a try.
Thank you very much.
A last feedback or remark or question? No, if no, then please, congratulations to the team again. And let's welcome le flux des décanotes.
Welcome to Le Flux des Canotes, an experience. Oh, someone broke it. We need to fix it. Welcome to Le Flux des Canotes, an experience about communicating and repairing. And now your cycle begins. Le Flux des Canotes is a single-player, contemplative, asynchronous, co-narrative experience. Each player will play as a decanote, an unknown entity responsible for maintaining a mysterious vehicle for 10 minutes, before handing it over to its successor. So look out, repair, write, look, hear, and leave something to the next decanote. For this project, we had three main intentions, which were creating a co-narrative experience. By relying on the past and the future stories, the experience you tell is the one of those who have been before you and the ones who will come after you. It has to be surprising and intriguing. At first, everything looks surprising. Things don't work as you expect them to. You don't know who you are, you don't know where you are, different things will happen. The only thing you know, really, is that you're here to maintain a perpetual movement and this strange vehicle in a strange line. It makes you wonder about your role and your place in the vehicle. And in the end, it has to be cozy and satisfying. Le Flux des Canotes aims for a home-like, safe place environment, creating overall a very satisfying experience.
Speaking about co-narration, we wanted the entire vehicle to be a social space. When you start your journey, you get surrounded by machines. Each machine has its own life cycle. Observe, listen to them to understand their states, and it's up to you to fix them when they break. At the end of your cycle, all machine states are saved, and the next decanote's journey starts precisely where yours ended. Players are in some way responsible for the next player's first impression about this experience. But the main social feature is the notes. The notes are creating a connection between all the players. You can write advice, theories, or just leave a message, a mark of your entire existence in this endless journey. You can of course read Yep, that's right. You can of course read other players' notes and even up or down vote them as an intention of cooperative moderation. This way, the vehicle progressively becomes a manifestation of those who once lived here for 10 minutes.
Okay, so let's talk about animation and sound design. So to create a feeling of curiosity, each machine has its own identity in terms of sound design and animation. The process was to translate the sensation transmit by the machine. For example, we have a big radiator, so his idle is very bassy, and his animation is very like in your face. And for comparison, we have an hourglass. So an hourglass that sound more with little click and small animation. Yep. So machines are affordant, but don't work as you expect them to. With machine and props animation, we have the impression that the vehicle is alive.
Since we wanted to give the players a sense of belonging, we looked for round shapes in the designs to create unity and security. For example, here you have one of the last concept art of the game. Also, in terms of lighting, warm was the key word really, because it allowed us to create pleasant moods no matter the time of the day. For example, you have the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. This way, you will always feel comfortable when you walk around.
This experience is based on perception and exploration in the vehicle, so it was important for us that the medium itself wouldn't be an obstacle for players. Since we need to write in our game, keyboard and mouse were a logical choice, so we made sure all the input could be rebinded. In terms of visual perception, camera sensibility is customizable to avoid motion sickness, and all interactable objects have an outline which can be personalized by selecting the color you're the most comfortable with. The game also allows you to balance the audio to find your perfect configuration.
The sounds of the machines are synchronized to give a sense of harmony, order, and fulfillment. Each one had a unique rhythmic sound that act as percussions. And when working together, they let us hear the music of the inner workings of the engine.
So we spent the last 10 minutes talking about visuals, animation, sound, all the things we try to make you vibe with the game as much as we vibe making it. But all of this is essentially nothing without, if you didn't take it and make it partly your own by writing insightful comments, your thoughts, a love message, like we can see. And essentially plain, you can pass next, a plain ASCII art deck on the wall. We made only the half of an experience, and you made the other half by playing it yesterday, so for this, thank you.
Thank you. So who wants to start giving us feedback of what you thought playing it? Yes, Cécile.
Hi, so I'm Cecile from Focus. So I really enjoyed the game. I'm the kind of player that usually likes not to understand things at first and figuring out how things work. That's something that really drives me. So I'm really like your target, basically. So I really enjoyed it. There is one thing I am not sure I understood is whether there is an actual progression, like from cycle 0 or 1 to cycle, I don't know, maybe 100. Like, do players actually progress within something, or is it just faked and we just basically do the same thing over and over again? And because it made me think of, maybe you're too young for it, but when I was younger, we watched Lost, and people typed number, the same sequence of number, and they were worried, will things explode if I don't do it? Well, so that's the same idea.
Okay, thank you. Regarding the progression, if you are thinking like of Lick Fluidic Anode as a standard game, then you would be wrong. It's definitely not, and so there's no sort of achievement, there's no success, there's no failure, there's nothing of that. So no, there's not an actual progression in the way you would expect to. Again, it's mostly, this is a social experiment for us and for everyone in this room. The progression is basically learning of how to take something from the people who have been before you and leaving something to the people who come after. Whatever that is, whether it's kind words, jokes, or a solution to very simple puzzles. That's the way we saw progression in that experiment or experience. Yeah. That's answer your questions.
Okay, so I've been fooled. Thank you.
I'm Catherine again. I think you're going to get like more and more tired feedback as the carbon dioxide of the room. So I apologize in advance. I'm not very coherent. Yeah, I really like the way you're very clear with the goals. But the feature I like the most is this asynchronous puzzle solving idea. I mean, I know it's not really puzzle solving, but like I want it to be more like that. I think with so many people working on the same problem, it would be cool if for me anyway as a player, because maybe I'm not your target player, but like the fact that there are other people who've come before me who can. I kind of expect it would be cool if they could give partial solutions, like maybe because you could spend so much time on these machines, and now I kind of see you presented them here and they look really cool, right? But at the time, I wasn't paying as much attention as I should have been, and you know what would have made me pay attention is if I had to spend more time figuring stuff out. So you know those puzzles where there are multiple components to a single puzzle and you get the feedback, you get the reward feedback, oh, I've partially solved it. I think those sorts of puzzles would work super well with this sort of people have gone before you, because there's a sensation that if you partially solve a puzzle and you're like, oh, I failed to solve this puzzle fully, but it's okay, I'll pass the baton onto the next person and I'll give them a little partial answer, and then maybe the people like my children and my children's children and their children will finally crack it, that feeling that you're part of a chain of discovery. Like I thought there's a lot of scope in what you've done. You've established this kind of cool idea, and then that's one way to take it further, I think, to give that sensation of like we're part of like I have not fully solved this puzzle, but I have a partial solution that I can pass on. Or even partial solution that's like, I can't fit the whole solution on one post-it. Something like that, yeah.
You're right. That was the first design ambition we had, to create like asynchronous and legacy puzzles. Then we started playtests and we figured out that even most evident answer is quite difficult to pass through if you had to just share a part of the message, a part of a solution, and then if we have to cooperate without being together, it was quite hard. And I think it could be possible to create like an escape game, but asynchronous, in fact. But it would took too long for our scope. If we had more time, I think we could like iterate on puzzles and try things more complicated, maybe things with timing events only on certain cycles, for instance. But that was like a bit too hard and a bit too complicated for that much time.
Well, Quentin Dor, video content creator, there's something. It was a stellar experience. It was really, really good, and I apologize for the amount of Elden Ring references I managed to fit in there. I've seen something that I really enjoyed in your game and that I didn't see in your presentation. Like, when time passes, like minute after minute, I think I saw some scribbles on the walls, some graffiti, some stuff that's kind of a lore or thing. Am I mistaken?
No, you're right. We decided not to show it to the presentation to give the little surprise thing for people who haven't played the game.
Then I'm sorry.
So that's okay. That's essentially about a huge part of the game, all the little thing that will be funny if that we added to the game. So there's a bit of lore, but it's not quite understandable as it is, and that's okay because we figured that if we add too much lore to the game, that we kinda bypass what we want the game to be at first, being a form of adaptive way of communication.
Okay, thank you. Congrats again.
Thanks.
Hello, Guillaume, virtuose, développeur. Yeah, so as one of other member of the jury said, it would have been really great to get something more impactant. Even if we are not talking about Enigma, which need generations and generations to solve, just stuff like a machine you need to refill, and to refill it you need to craft stuff. And if you're kind enough, just craft something more for the next one or stuff like that. It would have been more impactant. Sorry, I don't have the word in English. Impactful.
Yes, I agree too for that. That's also something we thought about, and in fact, in our workflow, we made many iterations and tried something. Bit of lack of time, so we tried something else, and I think it could be a plus for our game to create like a carrying system, a real carrying system with system design here, there, for behind it to make sure the ship is like moved and fixed with more like gestion, management. Yes. A management system to be more impactful and realistic, maybe. But the main key was to let space for people to read notes and write notes. So we had to give them space and to make sure the design will get behind, in fact.
I just have a last question. I've seen that there is props that you can move. Is the position of the props reinitialized from one to another or not?
That's a point too. In fact, at first it was saved, and then one of the playtesters threw it through the window, and then no props. So we decided to delete this feature and to make it reset each cycle.
Okay, thank you for your answers.
That was the fuck around feature.
Yes.
Right? One of those.
Yes.
Congratulations, I love to play that game. and this message to the eternity of the universe is beautiful. I just was having something in the back of my mind. Maybe you know it is the story of the Voyager and the love story between two scientists who send there are many errors in this message. The man and the woman, they are white, etc. But there is a love story you can read in the National Geographic, because they know that maybe they will pass away, but their love will be eternal, and they have the possibilities to do it with the NASA. So read it, because it's really making sense with what you are doing, but what you are doing is much more contemporary and much more efficient, I think, because it's here and now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, Constance, Ubisoft project coordinator. I really, really, really enjoyed this proposition, like the whole experience. I think it was really refreshing, and it has really the bonus of originality. To me, this is definitely what we could expect from an M1 project. So I wanted to congratulate you on that. Also, what I think is a very good idea that you implemented was that sunstorm I heard of, because I didn't experience it myself. This is an amazing idea, because this is definitely something you can pass on, start to warn people, etc. This makes sense in your gameplay, and I think this kind of events, I know you had some ideas, etc. We discussed it earlier yesterday. I think this is something you could like really work on to get most something like a true video game, and this kind of progression, those kind of events, short or long, could be really a base of your experience, I believe.
I believe too. That was like the first point to impulse the writing of the notes, was this kind of event. Then just someone could be informed, but had to inform the next one to be prepared, and the idea was like to create continuity with that.
And thank you for your feedback, and makes me have another answer for the progression question, because there's just links. In fact, there is a kind of progression, because the people who played yesterday morning had almost nothing in the vehicle. Then they're starting to have more and more notes. And those who played yesterday at like 6 had the whole vehicle blended with notes everywhere, so there was not the same experience, and there was clearly progression, because the puzzle was solved, the storm was announced, the solution to the storm, which is just closing the window, was found. So there's this progression that we wanted, and that we aim for, and we are very happy to see that you guys find it out, so thank you.
So thank you, and please a round of applause once again for Plus des Décanots. And please a warm welcome for the last team of today. So please welcome Excelencio.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Excellentia presentation. Just a heads up, there is spoilers for the game. The game is based on knowledge and you can only play it once, so we warmly invite you to play it on itch.io first, for those online because the offline ones are stuck with us. And let's start with the concept of the game. So, you play a digitized consciousness exploring memories who are 3D scenes. You find the object in these memories based on sound or context, and you type the name of the objects to reveal them. You will also be able to find memory foams, some point of interest that will give you more context and narration. For the intention and pillars, we have 3 main pillars and 1 intention. So for the 3 pillars, you have exploration, that means searching for clues, narration and context in the scene. Reflection, using the environment to bring conclusion and create meaning. Emotions, asking yourself questions about the meaning of the scene through human emotions. All of those 3 main pillars will allow us to make you ask yourself 3 questions. What is this place? What is this thing that I'm seeing? What is this feeling? That will put the player in the state of introspection. To achieve that, we have 3 main levels. The first one is mycelium, the onboarding one. The second one is myosotis, which is mostly horizontal and will allow you to discover slowly the world. The second one, strelitzia, is composed of 2 main parts. The first one is set in a desert, and the other one below bunker, create a jungle. I will now let Leah talk about the production aspect of the game.
For the production, it was clear to us that our creative vision will be essential. Being an experience with deep and complex human emotions, our own memories and emotions helped us develop this concept, which is based on the player's mindset. And to achieve this goal, we follow 3 main points. This experience is based on sound and visual, and we talk a lot about the game's feedbacks and the part we could rely on. This was to make the game better and clearer, matching our vision. Also, our commitment to constant communication kept our project on track, allowing us to stay true to our intention of offering a unique experimental adventure. As every detail mattered, the documentation was key to transparency and clarity of information. It helped us improve by tracking all the production stages, easing coordination, and especially organizing all the game assets from the words to environment and artistic direction. With so much information and the need to maintain an overall coherence inside everything in the game, the documentation served as a valuable reference for the team. However, what really enabled continuous improvement was iterations. It played a crucial role in allowing us to remain flexible and to constantly test our game to be close to our goal, providing players with a profound and emotionally rich experience. And that was all possible thanks to early playtesting, reflection, and ongoing feedbacks. Additionally, the development of internal tools made the situation easier, and that's something we will let you explore further with Louis, our developer.
Thanks a bunch. I'll now talk you a bit about the technical challenges that we face during development. So there are 2 main ones. The first one is the creation of a framework that will allow us to quickly dish out levels through iteration using an iterative process. So this here is basically how we would create a level. So that will allow us to quickly add in new meshes to the scene and make them part of the system that would hide them and show them when you input the right word. And I would also create, we also created tools to help the game designer create modular sort of concepts. And this tool had the advantage to serve multiple purposes, such as the translation in the different languages that the game is on. So currently French and English, but nothing is preventing us from translating in other languages, as well as using it to associate words to different synonyms. And modularity was the second one of the big challenges that we faced. And this is a good example of why. This is how we generate our textures, because obviously we didn't create a custom texture for every possible word. And we created an atlas of letters that we used to then blend together to create new textures for every possible word. And this allows us to, as well, autocorrect the players so that, for instance, player with dyslexia could play the game. I'll now let Loris talk about the art direction of the game.
So, a bit of talk about the art and how we use those textures Luis just talked about. For the artistic direction, our concept behind it was that the game is the textures of the object in the game are the names of this object and is made as text. For those, I needed to create shaders that was modular and organized to quickly iterate and experiment with those this new way of creating graphics. I divided it in subgraphs to be able to create functions and create quickly new ways of showing those words. And I was free to iterate and experiment on a lot of those thanks to this workflow. Next, I went for the assets. Those assets had to be focused around silhouette and texture to match the gameplay. An efficiency over the modular, because I had to create a lot of assets on top of the shaders I just mentioned to create always new unique things. And I documented this workflow to be able to create in team if needed. At last, as we want the game to be played by the most people, I thought early on about trying to get accessibility into my shaders and my workflow, so I tried to get those as much as I could in the time I had. And I created, for instance, this shader that modifies the entire graphics of the game in a huge way to reduce noise and get easier shapes for people who need it. I'll now let Mile talk about sound.
Let's talk about sound. In Excellencio, the sound is a component of the gameplay, and so the ambience has been really detailed and over-spatialized in a way to guide the player in the level and play with his visual imagination. Each time the player discover a world or place in a level, a musical layer is modified or added on the soundtracks. The music is like the visual. It specifies the emotion of the memory. So, but we have a lot of words to discover, so a lot of ambience and a lot of music layer. So we have to mix all this. In each level, each level has been split into zones which have their own layers who are down the others. For example, in Myosotis, we have 3 zones, which allows you to have several different atmosphere and mood in the same level. Globally, all zones have individually choice. We want each moment we stop searching word become a moment of contemplation. So all the layers of the music compose an ambient song.
Thank you for your time and your attention. We would like to have a special thank to Benjamin, who worked on the game trailer, and we will be happy to answer any question you may have.
I didn't want to interrupt the music. So who wants to react first? Yes.
Hi, so it's still Cécile from Focus, and I am also the target for this game. I really love parser games. I think it's a very simple and beautiful idea. There are some stuff that could be improved, like your onboarding did a very poor job at actually onboarding your players, but it's fixable, I think. And there are, maybe stuff that are, maybe you're trying to put too much of the, how to say, your world building or your world logic into your onboarding, and then for instance, I think there's something like the solidification of the memories, and it leaves the player just confused. But like really, the idea works beautifully once you get how things work. Like it's really a beautiful feeling of like finding out the words. And I had a question on how you worked with it, like regex, because sometimes I think I wrote something like vid, and the game autocorrected the thing in ed, and I was like so frustrated when the game didn't actually understood what I wanted to say.
Okay, so the way this works is when you input a word, the game first tries to see if it's a command. So our autocorrect features allows for an error of a third of the letters. So I forgot the word you typed, vid. So yeah, I guess. So it first tries to see if it's a command, and afterwards it tries to see if it's a word. But seeing as vid is not one of the words that we have in our database, we didn't actually really like account for this problem. So this kind of thing can happen, and we don't really know how we could fix this.
The fact is, when you play vid, the game will autocorrect it to ed. One thing we can do, not fix the code, it will take much work to fix really that. I think what we can do is better communicate to the player that the word has been auto-corrected to something else, so that the frustration you felt during gameplay disappear.
And I think I had a very little something else, but it slipped my mind, so I'm going to leave the mic to somebody else.
Carbon dioxide.
No, but yeah, probably the carbon dioxide in the room. But it just, I only noticed this afternoon, like the stickers you gave, that it was actually written stickers.
Yeah,
like
it's written stickers
it's
on the
very
stickers, yeah.
love it. Thank you.
Sorry, oh yeah, in English. Melisandre again. I had the chance to try your game yesterday, and it was the first one. I found it very sort of exclusive in the sense that it's not common to me, at least, to play that kind of game. So I think I had difficulties to get on with it because I'm not used to it, for sure. But some of the words, like she said, they were, changed. That's just my experience. I'm related, and I was myself frustrated for one thing. It's because at some point, sorry, it's a spoiler, another spoiler.
No worries.
There's like a big round. Yellow round, and I identified it as a moon, and it was a sun. And so, because to me the game was in a night landscape, and I don't know what I was supposed to. I don't have a question, but I'm not sure my brain was thinking differently from everyone else, or is it a common mistake?
So this is a great question, because we had to account for that. Many people have different cultural references, different ways of seeking. When we chose the words for each levels, we tried to make it so each words will add to the reflection of the player. So we try to make semantic links between words so that one word could lead you to all the other ones. There are places when this is not supposed to work because those are bonus words. Those are make in order to the game to be more difficult. So for the experienced player, so for example, the sun is a bonus word. You're not supposed to really find it easy to find it. So it's normal that you find it hard to see that. There are other words like that. Also, if you type the int command, for example, that we add to help people that are stuck on a word, you'll see that bonus words only have one help, whereas the cores or intermediate words are 3 and 2 ints respectively. So we tried to put as much help possible to help people that are stuck on words. Sadly, there are people that will just stuck on something, and that's when the second thing come in place. We have multiple levels. Nothing is preventing you to change to another level, play it a bit here, and then thinking, oh yeah, of course it was that on the other one.
Okay, then I only played one screen or two, but what I found very interesting is how we discovered the landscape when we managed to find words, and it's beautiful. The difficulty I had for me, that's me, I think, I had difficulties to navigate with the clavier, keyboard and the mouse. Maybe a joystick, if you were to continue with that project and make it more mainstream. Maybe a joystick would be easier, I guess. I don't know. Just suggestion. And I had a question, just not to forget. We spotted like with my neighbors, we spotted like some names of flowers, Myosotis and another one, I think.
Myosotis and Strelitzia.
And so we were wondering why those names.
So these names and why we have the photos of flowers into the presentation. It's because when you see those nouns, you think, oh, why flowers? And you start asking yourself questions. This is the mood we want the player to be in. So we had to make the name of the levels in a weird way, but that will also add some sense. What I can advise you to do is go onto Google and search for the way when you offer flowers to someone, each flower has a meaning. Myosotis and Strelitzia has two ways of communicating narration to the player. The first one is that way, so when you offer someone a flower, a Strelitzia or a Myosotis, this has meaning that will add to the narration, but also the shape and colors of the flowers has a meaning too. Myosotis flowers are known to be cultivated in on hills, and those make like waves, blue waves, and Myosotis is set in the ocean. And for Strelitzia, the top of the flower is orange, and it's really vertical with a very big green leaf. So you have the flowers that are the shape of the levels and also additional meaning to it.
And the colors in the game, you have plentiful colors in the game, or just a few only?
The colors were supposed to be only on specific things. I had to find the uses to get interest on some places for the player. So I used how the words are placed in the 3D objects, the noise they make by displacing them. I use the colors. I use them too. So it was just another tool to get the attention of the player on what we wanted. And like every building is on white and no colors, and mostly other things get colors that we wanted to highlight for the players.
It's very poetic, so thank you for that experience.
Thanks.
Hello again, Virtuose, Guillaume, developer. I cannot say it in the correct order, this one, sorry. So first of all, really thank you for this experience. It's really rare to get a game with, at the first sight, a really simple idea, but well executed. I will maybe mitigate what have been said. Maybe it's my programmer brain that is not normal. I don't know, but I really enjoyed trying to find every word. I enjoyed also the auto correcting stuff since I'm really bad at orthograph. So it let me play the game correctly. So again, thank you for this experience. And that's all.
Thanks a lot.
Please send a message to MoMA, Tate Modern, and Centre Pompidou, as for example. Just make them know that you are doing this. With copyright, of course.
We will.
Thank you.
Who can make better comment? So I think it's a good ending for the comments. Thank you so much, and please, let's congratulate them once again. And as it was the last presentation of the day, please remain there. I will ask all the students to come down so we can congratulate them all. And in between, I would like you to, with me, thank the technical team who helped us today. Javier and Eric, thank you so much. I will also like to thank the administration team that helped along the way. So thanks to May, Hélène, Margot, Anna, Indira, and all the new members of the teams. Thanks to the communication team. So Stephanie, Linda, Berenice. Thank you to the pedagogical team who was there also, so thank you. Thanks to them, they are able to do that too. Of course, a special thanks to the jury. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for staying for the 2 days. Thank you for sharing your feedbacks on the experiences. It's very valuable. It's a high value for them. I want to make a special thank to a special team we had this year. Thank you to the intern we had. We had 6 of them. 4 of them are here. So thank you to Lou, Leo, Nerea, Capucine, Lucille, and Mathilde. Please, a round of applause. I've tried to write something just for you. No, just silly words. Anyway, no. So I would like to thank you, dear P20 cohort, because thanks to you, I think we all can say that some of our dream came true, and maybe some of our fantasy too. So thank you for that, because who never dreamed of being an underground DJ, or a Travolta geeko, or an intergalactic tennis champion? Who never hoped to be happily managed, or to turn your colleague into your best buddy? Thank you, DS. Who never wished to move like a Spider-Man in a bad cave, or play hardcore football with spikes and rollers? Who never dreamed of taming the beast of our humanity in playing music together? Who, sorry, I shouldn't have written that in green. Or control here, or control the chaotic side of animals by, by barking, of course, at wild sheep, chicks, and goats. Who never, it's terrible. We never, yeah, you're right. No, it's okay. We never got thrilled to be invited at Mia's birthday. We never wished to live useless, not useless comments and not useful notes to the future generation, or find the right word to get the whole picture. And finally, we never dreamed to know what being on stage really feels like, and being evaluated for what you really choose to do. So, well, you know what? You did great. So a lot of congrats, and so a lot of congrats to you. Thank you. It was fun and really great. So be proud of yourself, and we are of you.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. Thank you for everything. And without you, it wouldn't be the same. So thank you for everything. Yeah, I know, but you're great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And a last thanks to Majelis, who make it all this possible. Thank you, Majelis.
And among of jury, we had also people from Spain who came, who have the nice habit to bring some elements for all of you. So thanks to Voxel School, please, you have at least one each. So thank you all, and thank you for following us. I hope Mathilde took pictures. So congratulations again, and thank you for following us. And so see you next September. Yes.
Thank you.